Hey everybody, and welcome back to Horror Film Lovers Reviews. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I'm here with
Skylar.
Skylar. Skylar's back. She was on a few of our shows before, so she's here again. Because this was a movie she recommended to me, and I thought I was special. But she apparently tells this to everybody, so I don't feel as special.
Well,
Thanks.
if it helps, I told you first. You're the first person I told to watch.
Okay, okay,
So,
you have now won my heart again. You're good. Hmm.
and you're an indie film person. I don't think this is an indie film, though, right? It was Mimi
No,
made.
it was probably I don't know if it was made by a big studio or anything,
Yeah,
but I mean it probably is an indie film because I don't think it was made. I think it was independently made by a company like, whatever. It wasn't like I don't think this was made by like Sony or Lionsgate or definitely not like Fox or Universal, like
yeah,
this was probably independently made. I had to talk about that because somebody said in a Kevin Smith chat group that apparently Terrifier 3 is not considered to him an indie movie. And I said, but it is an indie movie whether or not you consider it that because it was independently made. Like it
right.
was not made by a studio. Damien Leone put up his own money and the guy's like response to it is that merchandise is done through Hot Topic through for Terrifier, and I'm like, so
That, Facts don't care about your feelings. It's
that
still an indie film.
yeah, it's still an indie film. That I mean, and it's great that Hot Topic and them like it. I mean, that really speaks to what horror, you know, can
Hmm.
do.
Yeah,
Because like maybe Kevin Smith could do this because he's marketed the whole Silent Bob and Jay stuff and people put those on shirts all over the place. And that started from an indie movie,
right.
Clerks, so
Yeah.
whatever. But this is an indie movie. It's not, it didn't like other than you telling me about it, I hadn't really heard much about it.
Mhm.
But when I told people I watched it, people were like, oh my God, I love that movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so people
Good.
knew about it.
Yeah.
It's just like nobody, I didn't feel like anybody was talking about it, which kind of sucks.
Right.
But the movie we're talking about, I don't even think we mentioned the movie's name. Fresh, you know, which
Fresh.
be careful, just be warned of the pun I'm about to intend.
Right.
But it's very refreshing to
Yes. And
see
when
a
I
movie.
saw this, I don't like to watch trailers anymore that much. If
Hmm.
I do, it may be for like 10 seconds. Um, but I saw the title and I did not think for one moment, like, I wonder what this is called Fresh. I just watched it. And then, of course, then you understand.
Yeah, I knew it had, and spoiler alerts, there are going to be spoilers in this episode. That's just going to happen.
Yes.
So just whatever. Um, but I knew it had cannibal stuff in it. I thought it was going to be more like Army Hammer kind of style of like
Right.
him just eating people and stuff for himself for his own pleasure. I didn't know, but I think like I was talking to my best friend Jackie, she had seen it and she said it scared her more because this feels real. Like
I
this
can
could actually happen.
I can totally understand that too.
What?
I can totally get that too, because it
Yeah.
probably does happen. I mean, you out somewhere out in the world, I'm sure it does. Somewhere.
Well, I mean, because they
Yeah.
explain it where they said like basically the richest people in the world want what they can't have,
Uh-huh.
you know, and what they can't have is human meat to eat,
Absolutely.
because nobody can, you can't just go down to the markets, you can't go to the grocery market and pick up human meat.
Right.
I hope that never happens,
No.
like I don't know. We may live in a society one day where cannibalism is just a thing. I don't know. That'd be scary. But like, so it's one of those things where, and they do have a market scene and whatnot. We'll get to that.
Oh yeah.
Um, but like it felt, I don't know. I really enjoyed the story, the setup, the
Mhm.
characters.
I like the
Um,
colors of this movie. Like I love colorful movies. And
Yeah.
especially when they're in his house, like all the colors. I don't know. I just loved it. I just love this movie so much.
Well, that's interesting because in the beginning it's very dark. You
Hmm.
notice that? Like when we first meet Noah, she's
Hmm.
in the car, it's dark. When she gets to the restaurant, it's still kind of lit, dimly lit.
Yeah.
It's not very bright. And then when she meets him,
Yeah. It's like all in a
everything
bar.
brights up. Like
Yeah.
when she meets him at the grocery mart, it's lit up,
Oh yeah.
everything. And I don't know if I'm sure they planned that on purpose because they wanted to set the tone of like, okay, like her life was dark. Oh, and then he brought light to her, and then it kind of goes darker again at times, especially when she's alone and whatnot.
Absolutely.
And so there's definitely light and dark lighting stuff on purpose.
Yeah. See, now that you say it, you're absolutely right about the
Yeah.
light and darkness, you know?
You just get used to that. Whenever I say everything, it's always right.
Okay.
I'm just fucking around. I'm wrong way too much. But not about this movie, I don't think. I don't know. I mean, we're gonna have a pretty good discussion, I think. So, but let's I guess bring it to the beginning.
Hmm.
So as I said, Noah's in her car and she's on her phone, and then she calls her best friend to tell her that basically she's got to go on the date and the guy wants her to pay, like they want to go Dutch, you know. And for a first date, that's really fucked up. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I don't care who you are. She should have said no. I don't know what.
Especially the way he said it, because it was more like passive aggressive. Because I think he said, "Hey, this place takes cash only," or something like that. So then that was telling her,
Bring
so he's like,
cash.
yeah, that would piss
Yeah.
me off. If you don't want to pay, just tell me. You
Yeah,
know,
and if you don't want to pay, then you're not on a
bye
date.
bye.
So you're a woman, and I'm a man, and there's complete differences with stuff. And so I used to work at a amusement park, and I won't say what a lot of people know me know. And I was with a friend of mine who I met through work, and she was young at the time, like I think 19, 20, maybe, and stuff, like maybe even younger. But she was going out with this guy, gonna go on a date with the guy. So she did, and she told me, um, he wanted to pay and I didn't want him to pay, but he really like insisted, so I let him. I was like,
Yeah.
good. And
Yes.
then she goes, why is that good? I said, because she was like, is that a date? And I said, that's a date. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. If he pays for the date, that ensures that it's a date. If he
Absolutely.
doesn't pay for the date, then that's just two friends hanging out.
Yeah.
Like I hung out with Paul and two people doing this stuff. We didn't pay for them.
Hmm.
They pay for themselves. They all knew this. We
Right.
were not going on a double date, you
Yeah.
know. It was all us. But if I was going on a date with one of the girls or whatever, I would have said I'll pay for you,
Oh,
you know.
absolutely. Men should pay for the woman.
Yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
at least in the beginning, and then
Yes.
later when
You're serious
when
or
you're
something.
serious or whatever,
Hmm.
after maybe about 5, 6 dates, whatever, and you guys are getting like all serious, then if she offers to pay and you can accept it as a gentleman, you shouldn't, um,
Hmm.
unless she is really persistent. She's just like, I want to pay, or I want to pay for you now. Then
Yeah.
that means maybe you guys are like it's getting
Yeah.
serious.
Like
But
I had an ex and he paid for everything. And then for his birthday, I told him, I said, I want to pay for your birthday dinner. And
exactly,
I'm glad that he let me pay because it felt like I was actually like doing something for him.
right.
So yeah, in situations like that, I totally understand that. So
No, yeah, and
yeah,
that's what you're supposed to do, you
yeah,
know. But unfortunately, a lot of people tend to I don't know, it just gets all mixed up in this especially nowadays because like I don't know, it's like the Tinder app stuff, people don't really go on dates, they go on meetups first.
it's terrible.
And so like I'll give you an example. I went on a few they weren't even dates. They were meetups. We would meet up somewhere, coffee or outside or something. We talk. We go to Busch Gardens. We'd do something. We'd walk
Hmm.
around and we'd have fun, right?
Yeah.
Or we wouldn't, or we just talk and we get to know each other, you know.
Right.
But that wasn't a date,
Yeah.
you know. Like I wasn't buying them anything. That was just us meeting up to see if we even like each other. Most of the time you don't there's no chemistry there, like,
Hmm.
or whatever. I'm very bad with chemistry, so I think everybody has chemistry with me. And
Right.
then they say, no, I don't. And I'm like, damn it. How'd that not work out? Um, as I'm just oblivious to what, like, the feeling of chemistry, I guess, or
Right.
whatever. Um, but the girls know. And so she knew, Noah knew once she saw this guy with this massive scarf around his neck. If you met a guy like that, you would not date him, right?
Especially not with a scarf around his neck.
Yeah, I mean, what was that?
He seems like a yuppie, kind of like
Yeah,
yuppie vibes, which surprised me because then he's talking about femininity and how women need to be more feminine. And I found that ironic because the men like that, they're usually more alpha, stuff like that. So he didn't seem like that type. But he was a
right.
total douchebag. He was a total. And then when he took her leftovers, that would piss me off. I would have
Oh,
like stabbed him with a fork. You don't take
yeah.
my leftovers,
Well, especially if
especially.
I paid for it.
Yes.
Like if you paid for it, you could take I mean, I think you would still ask, "Hey, do you want this?" You know?
Yes.
If you don't want it, I'll take it.
Yeah, I don't want to
Kind of
waste
thing.
food. Yeah,
Or you
absolutely.
shouldn't do that anyway. But like, if you're not, she's not, if she's paying for it herself, you definitely ask. You know, if you're paying for it, I mean, technically it's yours. You paid for it or
Absolutely.
whatever. And especially if the date does not seem to be going well, which he didn't seem to notice.
No,
He was,
oblivious.
yeah, completely oblivious. Like I know when a date's not going well, you
Hmm.
know, because usually there's nothing to talk about and
Oh,
I'm
that
putting,
awkward. Yes.
yeah, it's awkward.
Awkward silence. I hate it.
Yeah, and that guy just talking about femininity and talking about the uh telling her that they shouldn't wear over, like oh
Baggy
whatever
clothes and stuff or
baggy
something.
clothes, which was what she was wearing. So he was calling her out passive aggressively and also in the meanwhile also saying, you know, women, I would love to see you in like a dress. And I'm
Yeah. And
like,
his name was Chad, and it's always the Chads.
what is up with chats? I've never had a good relationship,
No,
like
I feel like
friendship with a Chad.
Chad is like the Karen now
Well,
of men.
I heard a Kyle was the Karen, which I'm
Okay.
like, I've gotten a lot better along with more Kyles than Chad's. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I would go with Chad. Chad's the douchebag kind of
Uh-huh.
character, which I'm like, don't name your kids Chad, people. They just
Chadwick.
does not go good, for them. Um, but anyway, so Chad gets, stuff on the scarf and treats the
Uh,
Asian lady wrong, like mean,
like
like
she can't even speak English. He's
what?
like, "Do you have club soda? Bubble, bubble." That's what he said. Bubble,
Yeah.
bubble. And
And
she's like,
she
"Yeah."
even said yes. She said yes the whole time. She was nodding and saying, "Yeah, we have that," and then he's like, "I don't think she can understand what I was like, she even looked at the girl, was like, kind of like, what are you doing with this guy?
Yeah, he
I
wasn't
love that scene.
concealed. He had
Mm.
nothing for him, like not even attractive. So,
And then they leave, and he slams the door on her as she's leaving. So
oh, I
like
didn't notice that.
yeah, so when you rewatch it,
Yeah.
watch how he opens up the door and just lets it go. He doesn't hold it for her. I think she
Oh,
was expecting her to hold it for him, and then boom, slaps her right in her face. And
terrible.
then so she walks out and they're talking. I noticed that the first time because when I first watched the movie, I was like, "God, what a what a complete ass, dude." And then he was like, "Well, this went well. Let's do this again sometime." And she's like, "I don't think you're my type." And that's a nice way to say it. She could have said, "Dude, fuck off," you
Yes.
know, and been a complete total. And she would have every right in the world to be that way.
Yep.
But she didn't. She was nice and sweet. And he still said, "Oh, well, you know what? I was just giving you the benefit of the doubt, whatever, well, you know, fuck off, basically,
Yeah, he
and
called her a bitch.
yeah, I called her a bitch.
He was like finding someone bitch, and she was like,
And like she was like, what just happened? So when she discusses that stuff with her friend is sort of talking to her about this stuff, and
"Wait." So what I liked, I'm sorry to interrupt
yeah,
you, but
it's fine.
when she was walking to her car in a dark alley,
Hmm.
I like the fact that there was a man walking behind her, and like we're led to think, oh my gosh, there's a guy behind her. She's in a dark alley, and then when he comes closer, he has a baby. So it's like
Yeah,
you feel safe now.
right. You feel safe
Yeah.
now because he's not a threat to you,
Right. Yeah, I
and
like that scene kind of.
yeah, I like that scene too because A, it sets up the horror thing, so it keeps you on your toes, but also that's like just like that guy saying that stuff. That's what guys say in Facebook messages and
Hmm.
stuff to girls. Is if a girl says, I'm not interested in you, well, fuck you, bitch. I wasn't really that interested in you either. It's the exact same thing, except that was in real life,
Hmm.
not messages and stuff.
Right.
And I like that. So then later we see the guy coming in the dark alley, and we think, oh God, this is okay, this is where the horror's about to start. And then it's not, right? But
Hmm.
that's another thing women have to deal with. Women have to deal with the threat that there's going to be a guy that's going to attack them while they're just going to their fucking cars.
Yes.
Women constantly have to be sort of alert,
Hmm.
of these things. I think a lot of that's what this movie is trying to convey and trying to sort of the message,
Uh-huh.
is basically women you have to be careful. Like
Yeah.
even if he's the nicest, sweetest person in the world,
Yeah.
that could change in a blink of an eye. So always be on your toes. You
And
know,
you can do everything right when you're dating, and it can still go south. Obviously, by what we saw in this movie.
yeah, exactly. Hold on, my dog wants to come up and be in my lap real quick, don't you? Oh, see, I've got a dog in my lap, so I'm okay. I'm safe. Nobody will be afraid of this little thing.
Oh,
Than this little guy.
he's
Uh,
cute.
yeah, he was so we shot I told you we shot the slumber party stuff. He
Yeah.
was the star of the movie. He
Oh, I
took
love
well,
that.
not the star, but he became the star. He started becoming in the movie and everything. So yeah,
Oh,
he was just sitting in the girl's lap and and everything. And one
I
of the
bet
girls
they
just
loved him.
Oh, they did. He was so sweet. He's just like, oh. And then I've got my niece's dog here. So I'm we're all critter friendly, so here at these things.
Absolutely.
So but this dog gets a little like he gets lonely on that bed, so he's like, I want to be in your lap real quick.
Oh.
Um, but anyway, to continue. Um, so yeah, so that's exactly right. So like we all have to be like on our toes, and you could do whatever. You could be the best in the relationship and there's still something wrong, like or somebody's gonna view something wrong. And so we meet the guy. Well, no, before then, she's on the computer again looking for a
Hmm.
date. And she starts talking to some guy. And then for like one of the first things he does is send a dick pic,
Uh-huh.
which
Biggest turn off ever.
well, I mean, like, look, it's okay to send one, but not before you've met,
No, and
you
not even if
know?
you don't ask for it. Like, I don't understand what's wrong with men. Like, they'll send an unsolicited dick pic,
Yeah.
and I'll be like, "You don't think I've ever seen a dick before? Like, what am I looking at? Like,
Like,
it's just very annoying."
some people do it the first second, you know? Like before
Hmm.
they've even said hi. They just send it out. And I'm like, are you just trying to get blocked from these women?
Yeah,
Like, I mean, whoever goes up and goes, oh my God, I want that,
I
you
know.
know?
Like, I don't think men understand. Like, it doesn't make us like horny or anything. Like, it doesn't at all.
Now, interestingly enough, if you sent your breasts or vagina to a guy, it definitely makes us horny. So
Absolutely,
maybe that's where our brains are, thinking is like, well, that makes us horny, so it must make them
that's
horny.
a good point. I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but men are stupid. I'm a man, I'm stupid. I
well,
know.
women are
Um,
just don't worry.
but anywho, so she quickly turns that off or whatever and is I think she's like, at that point, I'm done.
Hmm.
Like it says in like a what is it, a bio of this, like a little thing, a blurb about this. It said she was turned off by dating. I was like, on the dating app. She was turned off by the dating apps. I was like, I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think she would have kept doing it had she not met Steve. You know,
Yeah, yeah, she probably would have.
she would have continued. Um, so she does meet Steve in the grocery mart where she's just going. And you said there was something really interesting about the grocery mart.
Yeah, so they met and he's talking about cotton candy grapes. They have a good
Which
conversation.
have you had that? Have you ever had that?
Yes,
Cotton
I
candy
actually
grapes?
have some in my freezer right now. So
Oh,
yeah.
they're just. Did you buy them because they're fresh, or did you buy them before then?
Well, these were at Aldi and they already came frozen,
Oh,
which
okay.
is cool. So
Yeah.
I tried them a few years ago, but I'm like, they can't be good for you. I mean, there's no telling what cotton candy flavorings in that, but I don't
Well,
really
they even
care.
said it was science,
Okay,
it
yeah.
wasn't, remember they said science made that, not like that wasn't like made by just, seeds or whatever, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so anyway, continue.
And I didn't notice this until the second time I watched it. But above her
Mm.
head, there's a grocery store sign that says fresh meat.
Which, yeah,
There's some more foreshadowing. So
there's a lot of foreshadowing
mhm.
that happens in this movie. Um, there's also the part where so yeah, so I'll get to that. So I'll get some more foreshadowing in a little bit. So yeah, so there's the fresh meat sign and they're talking about the cotton candy grapes and it's kind of a cute little scene, it's a little pickup scene, and he gets her number, by saying he wants just to have a story to tell, and she could have wrote a wrong number on it. It didn't really matter, I guess. But she gave him her real number because she liked him. She
Oh
thought
yeah.
he was cute and he was clever,
Great, yeah, great rapport. I would have
Yeah.
given him my number two.
I mean, yeah, so there was some awkwardness later with them dating that I
Right.
was just like, I don't I almost felt like it was might have been improv or
Uh-huh.
something because like I was like, they really wrote it like this? Like this
Yeah.
just feels weird. Um, but so we'll get to that in a second. So she meets the guy, talks to him, whatever, exchange number. He leaves. She talks to her friend, her best friend, about it, and she was like, "I'm surprised you can even meet anybody in real life anymore, like And so the guy does message her, text message, and they decide to go on a date,
Uh-huh.
and they go on a date to the a bar that the best friend's ex-boyfriend is the bartender. And it was weird because you don't know that. I don't think he never says Noah to her, right? He never calls her by her name
I
or
don't think
anything.
so.
So like there was never any hint that they knew each other. And I kind of wish there had been
Right.
because it just felt weird that, she knew it was who he was and that they were talking.
So
He
that's
knew who
not
she
till
was.
later. That's not till later that Molly goes up to him and is like, "Hey," because didn't she like blow him off a few times, right? Because weren't they
Right.
like fuck buddies, kind of?
Yeah, they were fuck buddies,
Okay.
and she was like, I don't even know why I stopped seeing him, or whatever. He seemed like a really good guy,
Right. Oh
honestly.
yeah.
He was trying to help her out and everything like that, and um, whatnot. So anyway, the guy, gives her more cherries or whatever, a lot of cherries,
Oh yeah.
apparently. And I think, see, that was the start of like now that you watch it again, you're like they're friends, they know each other. So the cherries were more of like a regular bartender might not have done that. And maybe
Hmm.
unless he wanted like bigger tip or something.
Oh
But like,
yeah. Especially if she's on a date, where she's
right.
not gonna be like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah. So, he was the bartender was being very sweet. They were chatting, and that's where I think, like I said, I think there was some conversations that got really awkward at times where I'm just like, I don't know what's going on here with this date. Like, I feel like either they're awkward on purpose,
Yeah.
talking like they don't know, but or if maybe that's how she is.
she's kind of boring. She's kind of a boring character.
Yeah.
You know,
I
she's
mean,
kind of bland and dull.
right. Up until later when she starts to like get more power and get more
Yes,
whatever. At first she is sort of this person who's, kind of like she took it from that Chad guy. Like she did not stand up for herself. She just
absolutely.
stood there and let him say shit to her.
Right. But
Um,
maybe with this date, they were trying to make it realistic. Because I know when I go on dates, even if we've talked before, it can be kind of awkward at first, and then we start to feel comfortable with each other. So maybe they were just trying to make it realistic, you know? But like the
so
whole like dead parents thing, they were like,
yeah,
well, that's one thing we have in common, dead
let's
parents.
cheers
But
to
that's
that.
something I would say.
Yeah. Let's cheers to dead parents,
Yeah.
whatever, kind of thing. Um, you're right because like I I was friends with a guy. We weren't dating because, whatever. But I was friends with this dude online. And then when we met up in real life, like we had talked for like
Yeah.
days about whatever. And then we met in person to hang out. And then we're like, this is
I
awkward. Like we don't
know.
really have anything to, like, you know,
It's
right?
totally different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally different. So like I get that. I get that. So like you met at the grocery store, you guys had a good rapport, but like you get together, it might be a little awkward at first.
Yeah.
You know, I mean first dates are always awkward.
Yeah.
I always say first dates are the worst dates, you
Yes.
know, because it's like he said, let's get to know you out, like, where you from, originally, blah blah blah, all this
Right.
stuff. So they get to know each other. Things are going really well, and they go back to her place and hook up. Like the first
Hmm.
night, red flag right there, period. Like that should not have happened. You
Yeah.
know,
I would have
uh,
done that.
what with Sebastian Stan? I get
I
it.
mean, probably with yeah. Or I mean, I've done that before. Like if I'm really like digging someone, we'll go home together. But there's many a times I probably could have been killed. Like now I look back in my 20s, I'm like, I was stupid. I would go home with guys from the bar. I would
Well,
have
you were
ended up like
probably
her.
a little drunk at those times, a little bit.
Absolutely, yes.
And so your thinking is probably, and they were a little drunk, you
Yes.
know. And so then um she has the oh, I forgot to mention the other foreshadowing, which I don't know if it comes before or after this.
Okay.
There was that mention where the friend said, he's probably married. And I think it was later. It was after. Because I think it was after she told him that he had
Okay.
no social media or whatever
Yes.
and stuff. And she said he's probably married. And
Right.
that's why he has no social media that,
Yeah.
or whatever. We find out later he is married. Maybe, or I don't know. It was a weird
Yes.
relationship thing that we'll have to get into later. But so yeah, so there was that, and then there was another foreshadowing that I learned from IMDb that I didn't even notice or I didn't think of. When he's with her to hook up at her house, she said, "Do you want anything to eat or drink?" And he says, "Just you."
Oh yeah, you're right. I
And so I
remember.
looked at that, I saw that IMDb that was foreshadowing for he was just gonna eat her later,
Oh
you know.
yes.
So there was a lot of foreshadowing of things in the movie throughout. Like it was trying to let you know little things.
Like when they're eating Chinese and she has the spare ribs and he's like, "Do you want to bite?" And he goes, "I don't eat animal meat." And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," or something like that.
Yeah.
You
He's a
know?
vegan,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. I was like, "Oh,
But
he's a
but
vegetarian."
human meat, I mean, I guess that's a little different.
Yeah.
Um so he doesn't like to kill animals, but he'll fucking kill a human. With no problem. Which I mean, normally I'd be like, because I watch movies and I'm like, the dog better live at the end,
Yes,
but the
absolutely.
human can get it. So, am I okay with him killing and eating humans? Probably not.
No.
Still, I mean, I don't want him to eat a dog, but
Yeah.
I also don't want him to eat a human. Um, I, but I mean especially the humans that are there's nothing wrong with them.
Right.
Like Chad. he could,
And look,
that should have been the story.
I guess these are just women. I never thought of that either. All the times I've watched this, I guess he just kills women and sells women meat.
What if like yeah, never a guy.
What
I
if there
never.
are guys and the women elites want to eat the men?
Well, you know
But they never
why?
said that.
I think it's because the guys would scare him a little bit that they might have more strength than the women,
True.
and they could overpower him.
Yeah.
He can't pull a lot of the same stuff. Like he's not going to be able to drug a dude easier than he's going to be able to drug a woman.
That's a
I
good
mean,
point.
he
Absolutely.
Cosby'd the shit out of that girl, so I mean, you
Yeah.
know, but even Bill Cosby did not eat, you know, his
That we know
prey.
of.
I don't. I mean, I think they've all lived. That
Yeah.
they just all were. I, I don't know what happened because I
Did
don't.
you know it's not illegal in the US? Cannibalism, it's not illegal. I Googled it. I might be wrong, but it said there's no law against cannibalism. But of course, then there's a law against killing. So I guess it's like
Well, yeah, it's kind of like.
there should be a
I
law
mean,
against cannibalism. We should pass that.
did you ever see there was an episode? Do you watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
No, but I know what it is. I heard it's a great show.
So in an episode, I'm spoiling this, but it's like future end, so you'd have to watch all the way up to whatever season that is. But it's like one of the longer seasons. But like there's an episode where they think they ate human flesh, so they
Hmm.
think they've got the Jones in for it or whatever, so they go to a morgue,
Oh
you
my
know,
God.
and the guy thinks that they're wanting to have sex with the corpse, but no, they start bringing out like things to eat, and the guy's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, what's going on here?"
That's
Like
fun.
that's not what like it was okay for them to fuck the corpse, but
Yeah.
not okay for them to eat it.
Yeah.
But I'm like thinking that would be the better suggestion if they're already dead, you know.
Yeah. Like if you
It's
have to
messed
survive.
up though. Like, could you imagine if you went to a funeral and like and the person's butt was like missing or like fingers or whatever you were eating. I don't know what cannibals like what part of the body cannibals want to eat.
I want to say like here, like right there, I feel like that'd be a good place.
There's
Because
also a
it's
movie
not too fatty, not too much muscle.
there's there's also a movie called Cannibal the Musical made by the South Park guys. It's
Oh
like their
gosh.
first movie. And at one point they're like the guy starts cutting into the butt and the
Hmm.
guy's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "You said you wanted the meatiest part."
Yeah.
He goes, "But I didn't say I wanted butt."
But the fattest part. I feel like
Uh,
butt would tend to be fat. You have to get like the right, you know, area of the butt. But
Yeah.
not
Well,
fat.
he does cut her butt a little
Yes, he
bit.
does. Oh, one thing I wanted to address. He says he's a plastic surgeon, and I'm curious if he actually is. Because they never really got into that.
Well,
But he comes home in scrubs after a long day's
right.
work. But I'm like, is he cutting up other people or is he actually at work
Yeah,
doing
I'm wondering if that's the thing, if he's doing that or because he has a different name. It's like Brendan or whatever. So was Brendan an actual surgeon?
I bet he wasn't. But then it seems like he knew what he was doing when he was cutting them up.
So he could be a surgeon for real life,
Yeah,
and then this is just what he does on the side,
absolutely.
which is like even more fucked up than he has
Crazy.
a regular job, and this is just the fun hobby that
Yeah,
he does when he's bored at home.
right.
Um, the other thing I wanted to mention about the wife is I think I don't know if we discussed this before or something. I feel like we had, but do you think that the woman was a past
Victim?
victim of his
I
and then
absolutely do. And I think
yeah
he fell in love with him and he kept her around.
yeah I think so. She might be that girl that sent that message saying if you're reading this, remember that did you see that part?
Yes,
It
in the
said if
magazine.
in the magazine, if you're
Yeah.
reading this, that means he likes you.
Hmm.
Keep going, right,
Yeah.
with it or whatever. And I think that might and it said like her name, but her name wasn't the same name as the girl that we met or
Okay.
whatever. And I'm wondering because he had a different name, if
Yeah.
she had a different name, and that
Right.
could have been her.
Yeah.
And she was just, telling him that she likes him, or whatever. So I'm wondering if that's the case, and then she was sort of mad because she kind of ruins this later on. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll get to that. So we didn't even get to the part where he invites her onto a, they're getting along really well, things are going good. Um, there's no social media and there's no picture of the guy. So yeah, except for this like really shitty picture that she took of him. So
Yes.
she's like, the friend's like, I I don't know if I trust this guy.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, I'm gonna go for the weekend with them
And you
away.
noticed that Steve was like, "Have you told your friends about me?" And she was like,
Yeah.
"One." And he's like, "What'd you tell her?" So it's like he's trying to kind of figure out what the friend knows before they
Yeah,
go
what
on the
people
trip.
know so that he doesn't get busted, you
Yeah.
know, because but he's using a different name. As far as he knew, she didn't take it. She had never taken a picture because he was asleep
Yeah.
when she took the picture of him
Right.
and stuff, and he didn't wake up when like the camera went off. But did you notice like how weird it was when he took a picture of her?
No.
Like later he took a picture of her and she was like, "Don't take, that, blah blah blah." And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep this picture." You
When did
remember
he take
that?
a picture of her? No.
That was I think he was at the cabin or
Okay.
something. Like they were, or they're at the house. They're at
Okay.
the house, something like that.
Okay.
But he took a picture of her, like, and said, "Oh, it's a really cute, whatever, and I'm gonna keep it
Yeah.
and stuff like that." And she didn't like just randomly, right? And what if she had just taken a picture of him? He would have freaked the fuck out, I
Yeah,
think.
he would have.
I think if he had seen her take the picture, he would have said, "You need to delete that."
So he took a picture of her because he was gonna put it in the
Mm,
package that
yeah,
she'd
but
be shipped
he
off in.
but he fell in love with her.
Yeah.
And so that's why later she was like, "Where's mine?" And he said, with me," you
Yeah.
know? And that was like all the stuff. She had her phone, which I don't know why he still had her phone on him,
Hmm.
the whole time. Like, I mean, like nobody could track where she was as
Yeah.
far as he knew, right? Which, you know what? That I mean, this would have ruined the whole movie.
Yes.
But what she should have done, what the friend should have done is said, "Hey, let me install like a tracking thing on you just
Yeah,
in
or at least
case."
put your location. Put
Well,
your location on.
right. Yeah, yeah, when the yeah, I guess
But I guess it wouldn't matter
yeah,
anyway.
because
Well,
they
yeah.
did not have any service.
Yeah.
So they couldn't do anything. So I don't know if the tracker would have worked if she didn't have any service.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing I don't like about these movies is is the unrealisticness of the we don't have service, because in real life if you don't have service you can still call 911. Did
Yeah.
you know that?
No.
So if you're out in the middle of the boondocks, you have no service whatsoever, and a bobcat is about to eat you and you need to call the police, to help you or whatever, you can still do it under the emergency.
Oh, I didn't know
So
that. And there's a lot of
yeah,
movies. There's a lot of horror that's like, oh, there's no
right.
service out here in the woods.
Because it's a movie thing.
Yep.
It's because nobody really says it that's and so I would love to see a horror film where they have no service but they still can call 911,
Yeah.
because you can still do stuff where like the killer kills the cops, or
Right.
whatever, and then he's got more fresh meat,
Yeah.
and stuff. So I was kind of bummed where they do that because it just isn't real. Because yeah, you can't call your friend or you can't write to your friend if you have no service, but you can call the police because there would be absolutely no, thing where you're not allowed to do that. Like that would be absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
So but yeah, I'm not calling the police on you, buddy. It's okay. Um
So like
uh,
so they go to his vacation or his house
right.
because what was it? They were supposed to go out of town. He said traffic's too bad right now, so let's just go to my house and we'll leave first thing in the morning. I know this is not important, but how far was his house? Because they left when it was like pretty light outside. So I'm curious
Right.
how far away this house was. You know, I mean, that's not.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. You know.
Yeah, and that makes me wonder, yeah, because then wouldn't she be like, wow, you live out, like, why were you grocery shopping like
Hmm.
where I was living,
Yeah.
and stuff if you lived out here? Because I bet he lived like right up the street from
Yeah.
that grocery store.
That's what I'm trying
Yeah.
to figure out too. If this was like a vacation home that his family went to, or if he has two homes, one that he does this stuff at, and then the one that he goes back to his wife and kids at.
If he's making as much money as I think he's making, either being a real plastic surgeon or just doing this for a living, he probably has enough money to have two homes. Two
Right.
nice homes too. Like
Oh
his,
gosh, I love this house.
yeah, his real house was just really, really nice too.
And the
So
sunken in living room. I want a house one day that has that. I love it. Even though
it
it's so
was
70s, so outdated, I love it.
yeah, it was cute. Um and I liked his other house, but his other house she even says like your house is very intimidating. And I was like thinking, yeah, this is a creep house,
Yeah.
like this is the house that has all the haunted horror stuff that happens in it. Like, this is the cabin in the woods.
The dungeon. Or
Yeah, this is the place where they can do whatever they want because nobody's gonna come back here,
mm-mm.
except for that black guy who was like, fuck this shit.
There's
I know what happens to black guys in horror movies.
right. He's like, I'm out. All
I'm
these white.
out, you know, which I actually loved because I was like, why is he even here? I know he's here. He's trying to find the girl, but I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm like, he's not going to be able to do anything. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, and so it became more about the girls.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Noah gets drugged,
Mm.
gets Cosby'd, and then she gets sent to um her roofied, gets sent to the dungeon, basically. She wakes up, she doesn't know what's going on. And she keeps asking to be taken out of the
Yes.
cuffs, and stuff, and
I love this scene so much.
because he was he, he was scary, but in the same sense not scary.
He was so matter of fact
Yeah.
that it was scary. Like, and
Yeah.
then when he was like, Noah, I was like, oh, I like Sebastian Stan as a villain. But
Yeah.
in my brain, I'm like, give her a real bed.
Yeah.
If I was
Well,
kidnapped, please give
especially
me
if
a
you
real
like
bed.
the girl, like,
Yes, not just a sleeping bag on the floor.
yeah, but
But I just love it because she wakes up and she's like, "Why am I chained? Please unchain me. Please unchain me." And he's like, "No." And you think
well,
he
it,
probably thinks she's about to get killed and raped.
yeah.
And
She
he's
even
like,
says that you're gonna rape
yeah.
me, and I'm like thinking to myself,
He's like,
he
"I like
wouldn't
you." He's like, "I
he
like you, Noah."
he wouldn't need
No,
to do that. Like, so I didn't never once thought like he that was his plan.
no.
Um, like what? Unless I mean, okay, there are some people that probably like, and this is really fucked up people. But there are people who like to do stuff like that. Um, because it's
Yeah,
a
it's like a
control
fantasy. Yeah,
thing, and they think, even though they can have it, right?
right.
Because she would just have sex with them at that place without being drugged and without
Yeah,
being chained up. They would have hooked up.
yeah,
But it's the control of like you can't do anything, and I've got all the power here,
yeah,
and whatnot that a lot of those really fucked up people like. Um, but that wasn't that's not his game plan. He didn't even hook up with her at all until like closer to the end
hmm,
when where it starts to go to sort of the next level.
yeah,
But he she kept saying, let me out of these chains. And he's like, I can't do that, Noah,
uh,
you know? And she's like, let me out of these chains, please. And like her voice gets, more aggressive and more aggressive,
yeah,
as it goes. And he's like, I'm telling you, I can't let you, I can't do that. You are, basically. And that's when she asks, are you gonna rape me? And he says, no, I like you.
yeah,
And he doesn't say I'm gonna eat you,
yeah.
like or whatever. Um But so he doesn't tell her what his plans are, right? At
I
first.
think he does. I think he says, I'm going to sell your meat. And he
Okay.
says, I'm not going to kill you yet because if you're alive, the fresher the meat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's not going to the morgue and stealing bodies, you
Right.
know. That's dead meat. You know,
Yeah.
you're dead meat. Um, I was surprised there wasn't as many puns and stuff as there should have been in this movie, like
There
with,
were when they were eating at the table, but it was bad.
that's true. That was
It
true.
was
Those were
bad fun.
bad. Those were bad, but those were funny. That
Yeah.
that that was awkward talk through that stuff, and that we'll probably get to that.
Yeah.
Um, so does she talk to Penny
I think she did.
in the beginning, like right from the start, or was it like after
I think it
a
was
little
like a
bit?
few days after.
Okay. So um she wants so at first she sort of wants to get out,
Yeah.
and at one point she even asks to get showered, you
Yes.
know, and stuff, and get cleaned up, and he agrees to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, she can help
Stupid.
herself.
No, she was dumb and tried to escape right away.
She tried to escape right away, which I mean, anybody would try, you know, in that
Yeah, like
situation, especially if you knew, you know.
it's probably like
Um,
an instinct, you know, if you're
yeah, it's the flea, you know. Um, so she fight or flee, right?
hmm
So she can't fight him, she didn't think, so she could just she tried to run, and of course he was like, that was stupid, and knocks her out when she wakes up and she's on the bed thing,
Yes.
and he's cutting into her butt.
And he says, I'm
Yeah.
taking your ass. And she's like, no. And he's like, yes. It's like, if you've noticed when she's like that and she's looking, you can see the glare of him
Right.
in her pupil. And it's just that camera visual was so great.
So he takes some of her ass, I guess, and then she comes back. But I'm like, she didn't look like she sat funny or had
No,
any
nowhere in
problems.
this did it look like she had her half of her ass missing. So that's where they
Right.
screwed up too. Because I noticed. I mean, her ass wasn't that big.
Right.
I wonder why he decided to take her ass though. Like if he loved her and stuff, wouldn't he want that ass?
Shouldn't they shouldn't they have found like Kim Kardashian for that part? You know?
Absolutely. Or someone with more meat. That's another thing I thought too. Like I'm a little bit thicker, and I feel like he would want a thicker woman because all the women he took were pretty skinny.
But then again, yeah, you're right. All the women he kind of took were skinny. Even
Yeah,
Penny.
they were
Penny
stiff.
was definitely skinny.
Yeah.
Um, she was she was a little Asian girl, which I was surprised because the
Teeny.
name like Penny, you
Yeah.
know, I didn't expect that. And she didn't sound, you know,
Yeah.
like at all. So I had no idea until I saw her, and then I saw who, the cast or whatever. Like, oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so yeah, it was after she got her ass taken a little bit. She had a conversation with Penny for the first time, and Penny was trying to tell her basically to calm down, like whatever, right? And things that, you know, hopefully it'll be over,
And she
sooner.
said something like, "You slept with him?" And she's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "He never slept with me," or something to that extent.
No, she was like, I never did that,
Yeah.
which I think that was the case. I think this is a pattern for him, and like that's why that other girl was his wife, and that was why
Yeah.
we think he might be the victim, is that he has. Because he's still okay, so he explains it to her at one point about why he does this, how he got into it. And it
Right.
sounded like he got into it when he was sort of getting out of high school and going into college, and he just needed extra money, and this became just something to do, you know. And then he liked it. He enjoyed doing it. He liked the food, he liked the meat, he liked the whatever, the thrill of it and everything. And I think maybe that might be the thing, is that I think he's still sort of in that high school, college mind. He's still
Yeah.
a kid,
But he didn't sleep with Penny, right? So I don't think he liked her like that.
right? that was
Yeah.
the thing with her. Like she was special,
Yeah.
just like the wife that he had,
Yeah.
and they kind of look similar enough where that was like what he might that was the type, you
Right.
know. And he even said, what I like best about you is like you're all fucked up.
Yeah.
You're fucked up
And
like
this was
me.
after she had a bite.
Yeah, but like because he had mentioned that, and so that makes total sense for
Yeah.
him. He
But
likes.
I thought he said you're fucked up because she wanted a bite of the meat. She
No,
was she was faking it.
I think she he I think he said you're fucked up because she was lost like him, you
Yeah.
know. She wanted somebody so desperately that she was willing to like go on vacation with a dude she barely knew,
Okay.
and things like that. And she had like her mom, or wait, was it her dad that died?
Yeah, and then I
His
think she
mom.
went close to her family. She really didn't have much family, I don't think.
Right. No, yeah, her dad died and her mom was away somewhere and
Yeah.
she never talked. And then his mom had died, so that's like how they bonded. And so I think he thought she was like had this dark side to her,
Yeah.
like him. And you're
Hmm.
right, I think the meat helped kind of think like she was into that shit.
Yeah. That was a
And
smart thing for her to do.
yeah, even though she threw it up later, because
Absolutely.
I'm glad he didn't see that and was like, "What are you doing? You're wasting
Yeah.
the meat."
It's a $30,000 meal.
I could have gave that to somebody else.
Didn't he say that at the table? He said this meal's worth $30,000.
Yeah,
Jeez.
hope.
Yeah.
I love that. Like,
Hope.
I love that shit. Uh, so yeah. Meanwhile, the friend goes
Mhm.
to the bartender. She starts snooping. She finds the guy's name. I forgot how she did that though. Like how
Oh, I
she
think she
found
asked him what the name on the credit card was,
credit
or for the
card was.
receipt or
It was like
something.
Brendan something or whatever. So she looked the guy up, found his address, went to his house, um, came to the wife, and the wife's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like
Mhm.
my husband Brendan is this really sweet surgeon, and and once I kind of heard that kind of stuff, I was like, yep, it's him,
Yep.
like or whatever. And then the guy comes home in scrubs, and he's like, oh well, because she's telling him she's her whole thing, and it's like, she was like, I'm you're Steve, right? He's like, no, I'm Brendan.
Yeah.
It's like, but you go by Steve. He's like, no. He was doing everything just natural and
Yeah.
cool, and seemed calm and collected. We all know, the audience knows that's him.
Yeah.
She kind of has that feeling because she saw a bad picture of him, but she was pretty sure that's him.
Yeah.
And yet he's just like, no, no, no. And then he she does the biggest stupid mistake, because what I was thinking was, all right, dude, all right, chill outside his house until he, like stake out his house until he leaves,
Yeah.
right? Then follow him to the place. That's what I would have done. Her mistake was, I need to find out this guy's guy for sure. So I'm gonna call him, right? Call a
Oh, she
dude that
called no.
kidnapped your
I think
girl.
she called Noah's phone and he
Right.
had it.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why he would have it. That was stupid. He also should have kind of
Or put it
left
on,
back in the house.
turned it off, you
Yes.
know. Um,
And he just goes, "Oh, it's you."
it's you.
That's all he said.
And then
So,
he looks at her and goes, you shouldn't have done that.
yep.
And his wife hits her over the head, showcasing that the wife is in on it,
Yeah.
you know. So then she goes to she is now kidnapped by this guy, and he never tells Noah that your friend is kidnapped or whatever. But her and Penny hear a new girl,
Yeah.
and they're like, that's not Joan or Melissa or you know, whoever the chick was before, is a new girl. And so they didn't know who it was, but yeah. So he asked her if she'd like, or I forgot if she asked for dinner with him or if he asked for
I
dinner with
think he
her.
brought her a dress. This was after the night she was asking what the meat tastes like. And then,
Yes. Yes.
but he bought her a dress and he's like, I want you to wear this. And I think
Which
she's
is
like,
interesting because of Chad. Did you ever think about that?
what?
Chad wanted
Oh,
Chad.
yes,
That's
yes,
foreshadowing.
yes, the dress.
That's
I,
foreshadow.
I
Another
didn't think
foreshadowing.
I didn't think about that though until tonight we were talking about Chad. I didn't even think about it. And then yeah, he brings her a pink dress
Right. And because
with no
she said,
shoes.
I would love to see a little
Mm.
dress, you know.
Yeah, with no shoes because she's walking around with Converse.
Right.
But he says a lot of stuff. He's like, "Oh, we didn't make it to Cottage Grove," and then he goes, "Maybe next time." So again, he's saying all this stuff that's making you think maybe he's not going to kill her.
Maybe he doesn't want to kill. Well,
Yeah,
maybe he didn't want to.
right.
Because I don't think he did. I think he only took her butt because she as punishment for her. But I don't think he was gonna actually sell like gonna cut off any more of her stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So they go to dinner, and she's eating the meat,
Oof.
and she well before she eats the meat, she asks, "Is this me?"
Yeah.
Which I was like, that's a good question. That's what I would want to know.
Yeah.
Like, am I gonna eat myself? Because I don't want to do that. I'd have no interest in I would tell him fuck off. You know, I
Yeah.
don't want that. But no, he's like, no, this is somebody else. So name Hope, right? And they kind of laugh about the name, I guess, right? It's kind of funny
Yeah.
because she had no hope, I guess. So anyway, he um, they eat, they kind of joke around with each other. You can see like when she eats the food that like there's something with eating human meat that because it's different, because you're not supposed to,
Yeah.
and because
Uh,
all that stuff you're like it's just this thing and it shows all the different people. They showed people eating the meat
Yeah.
thing and I was like, ew, that looks disgusting.
Yeah.
There's like these little like I don't know what it was, but like garnishes and other things. I was like I don't want it seasoned with that shit. Ugh,
Yeah.
but didn't look like human anything. It looked like just gross stuff. But so she eats it.
Has the wife happened yet where she's in the shower and she has one leg? Did
Yeah.
that already happen?
What
I think he had left. They were in the
maybe I
bath
know he left.
and he was like, good work today, like good teamwork. And then she's like, I'm gonna take a shower. And then she's on the toilet and you see that she only has one leg. So then you're like,
Hmm.
oh my gosh, she was a victim of his.
Yeah, I never
Yeah.
even thought about that. I
Yeah.
saw the one leg, but I didn't put that was the victim thing. I just thought that poor girl had one leg. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I thought about that she was the victim before, but I was that she was a former victim. But yeah, no, he ate her leg or whatever. He fed her leg to other people.
Yeah.
Poor girl, and then got her a new leg, fake leg,
Yeah.
which never comes back into play at all. Like even when we see her again pop up, no leg things,
No.
so it's almost as if like we never only saw that for the same reason you're thinking is because it's showing that she was probably a victim of his.
One thing I also like that we didn't talk about, I love how the title didn't come up until like half an hour in. 'Cause
I liked it, but I hated it because
okay.
I'm weird like that.
Yeah.
I want the titles in the beginning. I don't, 30 minutes in feels like way too long.
I feel like that's
And
how Friday 13th, 2009 was too.
yeah,
If you remember it.
I think so. That was like maybe 10 minutes in. This
Okay.
this tried to go a little longer,
Yeah.
you know. And 10 minutes is sort of maybe like Scream, the first Scream movie, didn't
Yes.
have it for the first 10 minutes because the first 10 minutes is what's her name?
Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore, and then I think it goes Scream after she gets killed and everything, right before you get to Sidney Prescott.
Hmm.
So, but that's just the title of the movie. This was the title of the movie plus the credits in the
Right.
beginning, 30 minutes. And this didn't feel like your typical like horror film.
No.
Because your typical horror film, that stuff would have happened in the first 10 minutes,
Absolutely.
So this actually set up for a for you to actually care about the characters a little bit more,
Yes.
and I like that because I'm sick of these horror films, especially indie horror films, where you have no character development
No.
whatsoever,
No.
and then you don't care whether the characters live or die.
Yeah.
And at least here, you're rooting for the three girls to survive.
Yeah.
Even though you don't really get to see Penny till later, you're hearing her voice, you're feeling sympathetic towards what's going on. As you said, the other girl's kind of a boring character, but like once things pick up and she starts going, you know what, I'm gonna get out of here. Basically, whatever I have to do to take it to get out of here, I'm gonna eat that meat, throw it up later, come back, eat it again, you
I
know?
can't imagine.
Yeah, she um she eats the meat, she goes home, she goes back to the cell, she throws up, she I think she finds that note or whatever for the magazine and stuff
Mhm.
because that's when I think she found it earlier. That's when she
Yeah.
like knew I need to play along with this guy and and everything. Maybe this guy's a idiot. That he will fall in love with me and I can use that, to my advantage.
See, when they were
Um,
eating dinner and they were talking, I was actually thinking, is she falling for him?
Now I watched a movie for my 31 days of indie horror with another person, and we were surprised because they went that way, where it was the
Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome, but at first it wasn't,
Was it
you know.
hippopotamus?
It was called Six Wheels of
Okay.
Hell or something.
See, I
It was,
want to see more of that in horror movies where
but
they
it
do.
wasn't good. It
Okay.
wasn't good. The way they did it was sort of where it seemed okay, and then when it became like more like now we're Bonnie and Clyde, I just didn't buy it. I didn't
Yeah.
buy any of it. I don't know if I would have liked had this turned into she was helping and then she became the new wife
I
and
think I would have loved it.
yeah. I don't know. I might have liked it. Well, this movie actually I might have liked it a little bit more
Yeah.
because the one thing I didn't like is that all the bad guys died,
Hmm.
because then there's no sequel. And I hate to say it, I'm a sequel lover.
Okay.
Some people hate sequels and don't want them, and they would love this movie then, because there's obviously not going to be a fresh two. Um, or maybe there will be. I don't know. Maybe it'd be a new person, but I don't think so because this was came out like 2 years ago or something.
Yeah, 2022.
Yeah, so I don't think so.
No.
Um, it would have we would have seen something about it by now if they thought. And plus this went like straight to Hulu.
Yeah, it
Like
wasn't. It was supposed to be on Disney Plus. I do not understand that.
Disney Plus is trying to go a little harder, but
Yeah, but cannibalism?
yeah,
Oh, not me.
well, some
So
of
I
those
guess
people are the
Hulu.
richest people in the world.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's true.
maybe they don't want this on there because they're like they're giving up too many ideas about us. You know,
Exactly.
Bob Iger is out there eating people,
I mean, Army Hammer, there's got to be others besides him.
Oh, Army, I don't know. Like, how did somebody find out Army Hammer ate people? They
Because
just,
he said it in his Instagram message and it was his verified account. He was stupid, basically.
he like admitted to it to
Yeah, he
somebody.
said yes, and it was on Instagram. It was the girl he was dating, and he said, "I am 100% a cannibal." And he said how he wanted to like eat her heart in his hand,
What?
and stuff. But he was an idiot. I'm like, why would you send that on your verified account?
But, but,
Right?
but anybody can say whatever they want. There's no real proof that he's a cannibal, right? Nobody's actually seen him
Besides
eat
the
meat.
fact that he said it, yeah.
Yeah, other than that, but like anybody can say, I can say I ate people, and that's not true,
I
you
think
know?
it probably is true about him, but I also think he's not the only one. I think they just kind of used an example out of him, you
Well,
know.
now it's like, okay, now we know,
And there's lots of other bad things he did, but he can never be charged because technically they never said no. You know what I mean? So he really couldn't be charged with anything. So, which I
He
get.
never said no. I mean, isn't that against their consent?
No, like they never said the word no. Like this one girl felt really uncomfortable with like how he like tied her up and like bit her and like all this stuff, but she never told him no. So it's really not against their consent. It's like, I mean, legally, right? If they didn't say the word no, it's not, if you want to get technical.
I mean,
So he was never charged with anything because, like, he said, like he knew I was uncomfortable. He knew that, like, I just didn't feel comfortable with it, but I allowed him to do it. So, I mean, that to me, that's not against their consent,
all right.
you know?
Well, okay. So anyway, to go back to this movie,
Yeah.
that's still about cannibalism.
Yes.
Um, the so he ends up uh I guess like inviting her back, to have dinner again at the, because she
With
wants
her dress on.
with her dress on, he wants her to um be with him again, and then they make sort of more jokes like, who is this now? And it's Melissa. Oh, that's not as decadent as
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say something like joy or whatever. And then I guess there's no hope
Yeah.
left.
And
And
there's a breast pun, but I forgot what
oh
it is.
yeah, I was like, well, I actually didn't like the way she said it too. It might have been the way it was written, but like it was like she said something to the effect of like you saved the breast to last.
Oh,
And I
okay.
thought, I was like, the it was supposed to be the best for last. So I
Oh,
don't know
yeah.
why she said, you saved the breast to last.
Yeah, that doesn't make
Like,
sense.
yeah, I
Everyone
think
knows
the
it's the
way she
best for
said
last.
it was really fucked. Maybe that was like a fuck up on her, and they just left it in, whatever. But like, it's really supposed to be you save the breast for last, and
Yeah.
that would have been funny. Um, but it still sort of made me laugh that they were kind of goofing around about it and everything.
I like they had a moment. It was kind of
Yeah, it
it
was
was kind of
cute.
hot. It was kind of hot, but he's like they're
He,
holding I forget if they're like if he's holding her arm or something, but they're this close to each other. And it's only hot because it's Sebastian Stan. But he said, I didn't chain you up, or like I forgot to chain you. And she's like, yeah.
Sebastian has like had like such a weird career because like he was
Hmm.
Bucky in the Disney, Plus or whatever the Marvel Captain America movies and
Yeah.
stuff, and then he was also Tommy Lee in the Pam and Tommy story.
And I
Yeah,
think he was in Gossip Girl, right? And then he was
probably.
the Covenant, if you remember that movie, and he was the bad.
I I've
And
heard of it. I never seen it, but I
oh, it's
know it's really.
good.
I know of the people who made it and
You
everything.
should
So
watch it. It's good.
yeah, I've heard good things.
But he's the
But
bad guy.
I mean, he does really well playing kind
Yeah.
of the bad guy. Like once again, Bucky is the bad guy, the Winter Soldier in the Marvel movies. So he's always
Okay.
sort of plays that character really well. He's
Yeah.
good at playing the villain. Um, I also like him playing good guys. He's just a good actor all
Right.
around. And that's what he does in this movie. At first, he seems like a good guy, and then he's a complete total, like the worst. He's worse than Chad. Who would have thought this guy could have been worse than Chad?
Yep.
But um, anywho, they start dancing, and you said that was like the audition tape was him dancing in the kitchen by himself.
Yeah, he was just dancing. But this dance scene in here, I didn't dig it.
It was. I think the music was off. Like
Like
I think
yeah, like
I
I
didn't
didn't
like the music as well, but I like them dancing, having fun, and
yeah.
enjoying themselves because everything seems like they're gonna hook up again. He's gonna get laid. He's so excited, and then she is about to suck his dick,
Yeah.
and she bites.
I don't see how stupid he could be. Like I'm like, are you forgetting what you're trying to do to this girl? Like you really think she wants to suck your dick? You know what I mean? But I guess I don't know.
Well, it's his ego. Like he thinks, okay, this girl's mine,
Well,
and this girl's into me so much, and she loves me like I love her. Like he acted like he loved her,
yeah.
basically.
And was
And
that
so
toothpaste that she threw in his face?
something, yeah,
Okay.
probably toothpaste. Because she did go into the bathroom for a second to grab something. and
Yeah.
everything. So she went to the
Oh,
bathroom and came back out. Um, but yeah, so she did all bit him and then shut the door and then kind of locked the door up a little bit or
you
whatever.
think the whole dick was off? You think she bit the whole dick off?
I don't know how much of it I
Like an
don't think she bit the whole thing off. I think she just bit really hard into it and fucking hurt like hell.
oh, yeah. I wouldn't
I
want to
don't
live
think she
anymore.
ate it because it was never in her mouth, you know. And like in a really low budget indie horror movie, that might be the case. Somebody will bite into it and then bite it, rip it off or something, and then you see some dildo in some chick's mouth or something. But
Yeah.
in this case, she just bit really hard into it, and it hurt like fucking hell.
Yeah.
Because did you notice how like it hurt and for a while, and then after a while, his aggressiveness and aggression and everything took over, and that pain was sort of not as you know as relevant. He was more trying to fucking find her, and kill her because of what she tried to do to him.
Ugh.
And so she frees her friend because she finds out we forgot to mention she found out that her friend was one of the new people. They're the new person that they were talking about and
Yeah.
everything. So she finds the friend. I say friend. I keep forgetting her name.
Molly.
What?
Molly.
Molly.
Yeah.
She finds Molly, brings Molly out. Um, Molly's a drug too. It's interesting to think about. Like, there was drugs and other things, and like all this stuff. So,
Where?
well, I mean, the roofing and stuff like that, and everything like that.
Oh, she was drugged.
Yeah, she was drugged.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it's funny. Her friend's name is named after. Sounds like a drug.
See,
I don't know.
I didn't think about that. You're
I
right.
don't. I don't. But I don't know if that was even their their
Thought of.
plan. Like I think they thought they needed a girl. They needed a girl name. Molly works for any race,
Yeah.
and just like Penny worked for any race, they could do whatever. So
Yeah.
she finds Molly. She finds Penny.
With one
They
leg. Poor girl
what?
has one leg. She has one leg.
Yeah,
Poor girl's hobbling.
hobbling. So she has to get Molly to help her,
Mm.
bring her up, and they have to like walk up that huge staircase, and stuff like that. She forgot, like whatever. Oh fuck, you gotta go up there, and then he's out of the room, so he's gonna try to attack them. They have to attack him. They have to get outside somehow. They
But I
do.
mean, Molly fucked his face up in the kitchen. She kept it was like an ice or like a I don't know what you call it. Like the thing that you
Right,
like bang crackers on and like make crumble.
right. A
He
mallet
kept
or whatever,
yeah, he kept
and
fucking him up.
kill the motherfucker.
Yes, I
Don't
know.
just leave him
I know.
down there. Like this is a horror movie 101. This happens in every horror movie
I know. Like an
because the
8-12.
writers are like, shit, we have 15 more minutes. How, what, we can't have them kill this guy that quickly. Well, in real life, you're not gonna just let that guy live so that he can get back up and come after you some more, you know? You're gonna kill the guy. So I get so frustrated when I see these movies do that. It's the same thing with the 911. I'm just like I'm frustrated because I'm like,
Yeah.
you can call 911. Just press it and then it'll do an emergency thing. It does not need service.
Yeah.
So anyway, so they end up attacking him, knocking him out, I guess knocking him out for a little bit. And then they go outside to leave, and I don't know what they were thinking, like that they were just going to be able to just run outside and everything was going to be, like
Mhm.
there's going to be a car or something they can just get in and leave. It didn't work that way. And
Yeah.
so he comes after them with a gun, and everything. And oh, the guy's an idiot once again because all of these villains have to be an idiot in order for the girls to win, right? So
Hmm.
he's not being very careful where he's, where everybody is. So everybody runs at him from both sides. He gets attacked. The big gun gets knocked out, and they attack him. And then she says the one line because he said it earlier. We forgot to mention. He said, give me a smile, you know,
Yes. Yes.
and which I which is a thing that women hate. Women hate this. Women hate when guys are like, "Why don't you just smile?
Yeah.
Why don't you smile more? You should smile." Like, fuck off, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I don't ever say that to a woman. If she wants to smile or if she doesn't want to smile, she doesn't have to smile.
I
Like,
will say the women that smile are much more approachable than women that don't
right.
smile.
Resting bitch face is a thing. And some girls have that, and a lot of that's a protective thing. A
Yeah.
lot of that is because they don't like, because they've been attacked by men, you know? This is
Right.
where that whole, thing about the bear versus a dude in the forest, would a
Mhm.
girl trust me or would they trust a bear? Girl that doesn't know me, even though I look like I might be harmless, maybe, you know?
I think
Uh,
too, they didn't touch on in the beginning that she takes a self-defense class. And
right.
and he didn't know that.
And
So
so did Molly. Molly took it too.
yeah, he
So
was
they,
screwing with the wrong girls, really.
yeah, he picked the wrong bitches, you
Yeah.
know. But that's because he fell in love with one of them, and that was the problem. So love and trust, two different things, I guess, in this movie. So she says, "Give me a smile," or whatever. He kind of gives a little bit of one, because he's whatever, and she shoots him in the head and kills him, which I would have shot him more than once. Because
Yeah.
if you watch horror movies, you can shoot them in the head and sometimes they come back or
What
whatever.
happened to Penny?
She was just left off to the side because remember they came back to her
Okay, so it never
and
showed her again.
they showed her one more time because then they what is it, she wants to go find her phone because the other girl's phone doesn't
Mhm.
have service, so I don't
Right.
know what she thought her phone would do, anything different, but she went to go get her phone and she gets attacked by that the wife who's
Yeah.
checking everything out and sees that like her husband fucked up
She's a
and
bitch.
everything, and she says, "Oh my God,
Ugh.
oh my God,
You
uh
got him.
you got him,
We're
oh
free.
man, we're free," and then she starts choking her. I'm like, you
And
know.
I think you probably think this too, but she choked her because she found out she walked in the house to find her husband and she saw two wine glasses sitting there. So she thought in
Mm.
her head, he's doing the same thing that he did to me. And so she hated Noah. And that's why she was trying to kill her because she realized her husband's in love with her. My husband's in love with her.
Well, you notice like when he said he had to go back to work or whatever, he had to go whatever right
Yeah.
before she went into the shower. She didn't seem too happy about it, you know, and I think she suspected
Yeah.
that there was something going on because she said he was going to be gone for a couple days,
Yeah.
and that meant that like I think she knew what that meant. That
Hmm.
meant that he was going to be gone for a couple days with this bitch, and I think that's why she came to the house. She was going to try to catch them. So imagine if they were fucking in the house, like she whatever, and the girl just came into the house and found her husband cheating on her with another victim.
Oh yeah.
That would have gone a little different too.
That was yeah.
Um, but yeah, so anyway, um, yeah, yeah, it was crazy. Um, so yeah, so she's choking her, and then the girl gets free somehow, like they knock her out or whatever,
Yeah.
and then the other chick. So Noah got to kill the main guy,
Hmm.
and then Molly got to kill the bitch
The wife.
character,
Yeah.
the wife. Whatever happened to the assistant guy that was
Okay, I
there?
was just gonna ask the
He kind
driver,
of
the bodyguard.
disappeared.
Yeah,
So
he was
maybe
probably like, "Fuck this, I'm getting out of here."
yeah, but I wonder if he sort of took over.
And like, remember how he said, "Get rid of him." She was talking to him about getting rid of her husband's body
You're right.
because they don't want evidence or whatever.
Right, because they found the body, or I guess, or whatever, and they were just like, we don't want any. And I wonder if they were even really married, like for real. I wonder if that was fake, so that if something like this happened, there was no trace that they were together.
Because they had kids too. They had two little boys apparently.
Yeah.
There's
Did we
just
ever
so
see
many
them?
questions.
We didn't see them, did we?
I think we saw them. They were in the living room or something, and she was like, "Boys, go play" or something like
Oh,
that. I
okay.
don't think it
I
was
remember.
significant.
So there's so much happened in this movie. It's an hour and like 53 minutes. And I'm
Yeah.
like, Jesus Christ.
But what
This
I
is
really wish would have happened, oh, excuse me, in the end, when Noah goes, "Who was that woman?" And Molly goes, "It was his wife." And Noah goes, "He's married?" And Molly
right.
goes, "What? Was married?" I wish Noah would have been like, "What a dick." You know, it's like he put you through all this
Well,
shit,
I
but
think
then you found
I
out
think
he's
them
married?
laughing about it. I think them laughing about the fact that he was married and that he's dead
Yes.
because that's sort of both of them are dead now, like that's sort of like I think that solidified everything. That was, he was married because
Yeah.
now they're both dead. Which, you know, uh uh and then they're kind of like all three of them, including Penny, are out there still.
Yep.
Like I was kind of sad. I want to know how did they get back home? Did they start walking?
And then
Uh,
Chad calls her. Chad calls her, or no, he texts her and he goes, "You up?"
you up?
This is the guy from the
And
beginning.
yeah, he was the guy in the beginning. He was trying. Well, it goes maybe Chad because
Oh
she didn't
yeah.
have his name in the phone. So yeah. So all in all, I thought it was a fun movie. It was really good.
So fun.
It's a movie I'd watch more than once. I already watched more than once, but I'll watch again.
Hmm.
I'm kind of sad that it's on Hulu though, because a lot of these movies don't go on like DVD or Blu-ray because they
Yeah.
just stream.
Have
And
you looked to see if it's on DVD?
I did not look to see that,
Yeah.
but I would love to. There was another movie back in like the 90s called Fresh.
Oh, was it about that kid, that drug kid or whatever? The kid.
Yeah, it was an urban movie,
I never
and
watched it, but I heard about it.
it was so funny because I was like thinking about it today. There was another movie in the 90s called Juice, you know? So I would have loved if they had a double feature of that movie so it could say Fresh Juice.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't know if that ever happened or not, but that would be fun. Like, or it would be like Fresh and then under it Juice. And then
Yeah.
you'd be like, oh, I need to go see Fresh Juice.
Are they
Um,
really?
Yeah, so I don't know. I just thought about that because I was like, wait, there's another movie already called Fresh, right? And yeah, it had nothing to do with fresh meat. Which I'm glad they didn't call it fresh meat
Me too.
because that would have just gave everything away. Fresh definitely definitely doesn't set it up like that. So people who watch this, I hope they watched it blind. I did not watch a trailer.
Mm-mm.
I didn't really I don't know. I think because people had talked about this movie somewhere, like online or whatever, and I heard cannibalism, so I knew about that.
I
But I
did
thought,
the trailer after the fact. It's a good trailer. I feel like it doesn't really spoil it.
okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to check out the trailer. But I like that it starts out as like almost like a rom-com,
Yes.
like
Rom-com turned horror.
yeah, because I guess every Lifetime movie that's like a comedy could turn into a horror, you
Mhm.
know. So I don't know. It was fun. Hey, come here, babe. Come here. He's wanting to go outside. Let me let him out um
Okay.
let him out the door because he's gonna whine in front of me and you can't hear it, but I can. And it's annoying. All right.
Oh, I understand.
Um. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was suspenseful. It wasn't scary. Like I wasn't on the edge of my seat, like scared as to what was gonna happen. But it was a good thriller, like almost like a Silence of the Lambs type
Oh yeah.
thing, like where you don't know what's gonna happen and
And it's so
psychological.
cute. Like it's different. Like, have you ever seen I Spit on Your Grave from 2010, the remake?
Oh, the remake? No, I
Well,
watched the original.
there's a
No.
really hot guy in it. And I'm just saying there's something less cringy about stuff like that if they're hot. Like if they made so the ugliest guy in the world to play Sebastian Stan, this movie wouldn't be half of what it is. You know what I mean? But he's a very attractive male. So it's like you kind of want to watch it because you're like, oh, he's not bad to look at.
Right. And I think even for guys, like they look at that and they say, oh, this guy doesn't look very threatening. He looks like Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Like he looks good, where you wouldn't think, but then you watch a movie like, I think like California with a K with Brad Pitt and he's like a really fucked up character. or whatever. Like movies like that where they turn you on where it's like a different character. It's a
Yeah.
different thing than what you're expecting. And Sebastian does such a great job
Yeah.
doing both, where he's this nice guy, then he gives her the roofied drink,
Hmm.
and then she starts to kind of see him, and even then, even though he knows what's happening to her, he's like, "Hey, you're so far away. Why don't
That
you
was creepy. He
why
was
one
creepy when he did that. And he was like,
right?"
come sit next to me, Nova. And then she's
Yeah,
like,
no,
oh.
and then she falls down, and he's kind of like, "Eh." So then okay, this guy's a bad guy.
And
So
like I feel like this movie was the perfect example, like we talked about earlier, how I mean, I wouldn't say they took it slow dating, but they had been on a
right.
couple of dates, and it's like in her head, she did everything right. I don't necessarily think it's a red flag if a guy doesn't have social media. I actually kind of like that. Um,
I
but I
I
can see where her friend thought it was a red flag, which in
well,
this
I
case it was.
mean, because I think especially when you're starting to get to know somebody, you sort of want to be able to get to know them and stalk them and find out if they are who they say they are,
Yes.
and stuff and how they are. And if you have no social media, I mean, like some of my family have no social media, do I think that's a red flag for them? No, I think that's just they don't like social media. They don't want
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino doesn't do social media. He just talked about that in an interview, and he said that he doesn't do it so he doesn't know all the negative stuff that people,
Yeah.
talk about him. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't care. He doesn't
That's
give a fuck.
smart.
Yeah, it's smart. Most people have social media and everything. I think that's why people think it's a red flag because most people have social media and are addicted to it. Did you notice that when she first comes into the grocery store, she sees the girl with the phone, like looking at her phone?
I think I did because then it seems kind of like it was like not real life, kind of like when I
Well,
saw it, I was like, kind
I
of like
think
step
the
pretty.
the reason for that was to show that everybody's addicted to their fucking phones,
Yeah.
and stuff. So when they meet in person, it's different than when they meet she tried to meet that guy online and everything. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just it was an interesting movie. Like I really liked it. I thank you so much for picking it.
Thank
It was a lot
you.
of fun. So
And then Mimi Cave, what else has she directed? Did she do Juno?
no, no, no. A guy did by the way.
Oh,
Um, Jason Reitman did
okay.
Mimi Cave didn't really do anything. This
I
was like
feel
her
like,
big thing.
oh yeah, you're right. This is her first thing. I was thinking
Yeah,
she's done something before this, but I may be wrong.
she had done like shorts and stuff.
Okay.
But no, I think she's got more stuff coming, you know?
Oh
Like
yeah.
after this she should be like getting lined up work.
Yeah, she
Like
did a great
this
job. This
should
is
be
great.
the calling card for her because this was so well done. I want to see what the Rotten Tomatoes score for this is. Because I want to see if Rotten Tomatoes thinks that this because if most people actually is this a fresh on Martin Rotten Tomatoes, I wonder.
Yeah.
So let's see. It's 81%. So it's
Wow.
fresh, yeah.
That's pretty
And that's
good.
critics. And it's 81% for audience. So it's
Critics suck
interesting. I've
usually.
never seen it be both.
Mm-mm.
So that might mean something good.
Yeah.
I would definitely recommend people check this out. If you haven't seen it and you just heard us talking about it, still watch it because it is not like we can describe it, but you have to see it. It's like really undescribable. Like
Yeah, it's great.
you'd have to watch it yourself. So
But now you know what happened, so
yeah, I mean,
spoilers.
yep, spoiler alert. That happened a lot. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll be doing more horror movie reviews. I do want to watch I'm trying to do some more A24 horror films I haven't seen. So I watched Bodies, 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 which is okay.
Yeah.
It's not the greatest, but it's not the worst. It's just, it's
I
just
thought it was a waste of time due to
I
this.
no, I mean I didn't think it was a waste of time. I just think it's just okay. I mean it's not
A24 is such a hit or miss lately. Like they did, I saw the TV Glow and I tried watching that and I'm just like, this had so much potential.
their stuff is like So I want to watch my next one. I think is going to be The Lighthouse.
Okay.
And I have not seen The Witch, which a lot
Oh,
of
never seen
people,
it. Haven't
yeah,
either.
and Paul recommends that movie, so we're gonna eventually watch it on for Film Freaks. So that's why
Yeah.
I'm waiting, to watch it,
Yeah.
because he wants to show it to me or whatever,
Yeah.
and he keeps forgetting. He keeps forgetting. I told him let's do that, and so because I told him once I did not want to watch that movie because I heard they used real witchcraft in that movie, real
Really?
spells. That's what I heard. So it kind of freaked me out as a person who does actually believe in witchcraft,
Oh, absolutely.
so I don't know if they did or not, but it kind of freaks me out to think about.
Yeah.
But I'll still watch it, so we'll see. Thank God in my movie, The Love Spell that I wrote, that the witch movie I wrote did not have any real spell. I created the mumbo jumbo myself,
Yeah.
or whatever, because it's fake,
Yeah.
and stuff for me. I don't want to use real shit because I don't want to
No. Fuck around and find
potentially.
out. You don't want to invite
Yeah,
that in your life.
especially if it's one thing to say, oh man, this isn't real and blah blah blah, but I don't want to take any chances,
No.
The same reason why I believe in God. Like I don't want to go up to heaven and go, oh, I'm not allowed in because I didn't believe in you,
Yeah. You'd rather be wrong, than think there's nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this little review. If you guys liked it, give us a like. Let us know what you guys think. Comment. If you've seen the movie, please tell us your opinions on it, and we'll talk to you later.
All
Thank you,
right. Bye,
Sky.
guys. Bye,
Thank you.
Jonathan.
All right, everybody, have a good one. Bye.